I've spent the better part of the last year trying to make YouTube videos, trying to figure out what style of content is best for me to make on YouTube. And I tried making the most cinematic stuff I could. I tried editing for like 12 hours for one video to get 10 views. And I tried optimizing my scripts using storytelling tactics and attention grabbing hooks and whatever. But after making all of that and trying for at least a couple times, at least 5 to 6 times recently, I realized none of that felt true to me. None of that felt true to who I am and what I want to provide to the world as a creative. And so I want to try this new style where all I've got is my journal that I literally write everything in. And I've got an idea and I've got some notes on that idea. And I'm just going to talk to the camera. I don't think there's a need for me to put any fancy editing, any fancy B-roll. Let me just fix my light. I need to make sure my face looks pretty. Today I'm going to talk to you about an idea called the original mind, which Robert Greene came up with while writing Mastery. And I recently read it. I've been reading, got here actually, the concise version. I've just been reading 5 to 10 pages every night before I go to bed to help me spark new ideas. And I just recently read that passage, the chapter towards the end of the book, when he talks about the original mind and how we all had this childlike creativity factor within us. All of us were able to create worlds in our heads. We would, like, from 3 years old, I remember you'd go to dinner or lunch with your parents and they'd bring over the crayons and the little colouring books. Like, that's what was the norm for kids growing up. They would use their imagination, they'd have ideas and they just draw or they'd write or something creative. And that was so normal at the time. Obviously now it's been mass overtaken by the inventions of these things, phones and iPads and everything that people give kids these days. But I remember when I was young, when I was like under 10 years old, we had like a conservatory and a garden, and I would just spend literally all my time in there with my toys, just making up stories and worlds. And I'd line up all my little toy cars and have a race to the other side of the planet in order to save the world or some shit. Like, that was so ubiquitous. That was literally our day-to-day activities was doing some shit like that, some imaginative shit. But I feel like as we grow up, as we get told to take life more seriously, as we get told that we have responsibilities on our plate, as we go to school and we're taught to memorize textbooks and history facts just to regurgitate them for a test, as we're told that applying to jobs is the most important thing and getting the best qualification we can. And then when we get that job, we think, oh, is this it? Is this the moment I've been finally waiting for? Is this when things start to get good? But then you're just like, okay, I just have to do as I'm told by my boss for a couple more years and then it will finally get better. And then I have to buy a house and get a family. But I'm rambling on here, but you get my point. The point is, due to the lack of pressure on us as young children, for most of us, we feel the freedom to be creative. And as pressure increases on us, that creativity gets sapped out of us gradually and slowly. And I vividly remember getting to a point when I was in year 11. I'm from the UK, so that was when I was about 15, 16 years old. All I do is study because it was during lockdown and I didn't have many friends. I still don't have many friends. I've always been like a tight-knit circle, but it was lockdown anyway, so I wouldn't see my friends much. There was no school, we weren't going to school, but we had these exams coming up. In the UK, we have GCSEs, right? And for some reason, it had been drilled in my brain that these exams were the most important things in my life. Which obviously, looking back, if you know anything about the UK, the GCSEs do not matter. But it had been drilled in me that these exams were going to make or break my life. So I kid you not, I was 15 years old. I'd spend 10, 12 hours a day just studying. I had nothing else I'd do in my life. I'd study, maybe play an hour of video games at the end of my day, and that's it. That's all I had going for me. And I remember we had these exams, and it was like 20 odd exams in 2 or 3 weeks. It was hell. But when they were over, and I was waiting for them to be over. I remember like every day I'd count down the days, this many days until it's over. And the day that I had my last exam, I walked out of school and I was just empty. I was just empty. I had nothing left in me. I feel like I had worked so hard for this goal of getting through these exams and passing them that I had nothing else left to me anymore. And I feel like that is so common between people like me and you and everyone who's watching this. It's you spend your whole life dedicating yourself to something that someone else has told you is important, and you never sit back and question, well, what do I want to make? What do I want to do in this world? What effect, what impact do I want to have on this world? And too many people don't ask that question until it's too late. I feel like now it's becoming more and more, with the advent of social media and more people becoming content creators, it's becoming more and more common for people to be more creative, which is excellent. But that's only it's still a very small population of people. It's not everyone. If I look around right now, I know maybe 2 other people that are truly creative. Like that's all I know. Everyone else is still in that traditional system. Some people, you look at them, the people you look up to, Kanye West, Tyler the Creator, Martin Scorsese, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, whoever it is that you look up to that built something, that genuinely dedicated their life to building something, and they will always be remembered to that thing. It feels like these people can create magic every time they write on a page or play an instrument or talk to someone. Like, it feels like everything they spew is just so powerfully impactful and creative, and they're able to get an idea and immediately take action and make that the best it can be. But then, like I was saying, it's so commonplace in the current society that everyone struggles to even get a single original idea in their whole lives. You can't sit down and write without having some sort of inspiration piece. You can't sketch without a reference. You can't film a video. Even I can't film a video most times without having some sort of template to copy. And I don't think what separates those influential people is talent or luck or IQ, or they're just like born more creative. I think that's stupid, that as an idea that someone's born more creative than someone else. I think it just depends on the degree it's sapped out of us. But that idea, as I mentioned earlier, it's the original mind, and the degree to which these people were able to keep their original minds intact. Now, what is the original mind? I haven't actually explained it fully. Let me just take you through a little excerpt from Mastery. So Robert Greene writes, "Let us call this quality the original mind. This mind looked at the world more directly, not through words and received ideas. It was flexible and receptive to new information. Retaining a memory of this original mind, we cannot help but feel nostalgia for the intensity with which we used to experience the world. As the years pass, this intensity inevitably diminishes. We come to see the world through a screen of words and opinions. Our prior experiences, layered over the present, colour what we see. We no longer look at things as they are, noticing their details or wonder why they exist. Our minds gradually tighten up." And he writes again, "Understand, we all possess an inborn creative force that wants to become active. This is the gift of our original mind, which reveals such potential. The human mind is naturally creative, constantly looking to make associations and connections between things and ideas. What kills the creative force is not age or lack of talent, like I was just saying, but our own spirit, our own attitude. We become too comfortable with the knowledge we have gained in our apprenticeships. We grow afraid of entertaining new ideas and the effort this requires." What I understand from that excerpt, and what really awakened in me after I read that, is the idea of connecting ideas without having some sort of pre-existing assumption about how the world works. I feel like nowadays, when you get an idea, there's already 40 voices in your head telling you how practical it is, whether or not it will work, what people would think. And as I said before, all those voices add is pressure. all those voices add is a barrier to you actually making that thing. And then no matter how good that thing actually is, you will always feel some sort of doubt towards it. You will always feel like, I don't have enough time. People won't like this. My friends will think I'm stupid. I'm not good enough to make it. I don't have the skill like this other person. You always have 50, 40, 60 different voices in your head telling you that it's not a good choice to make that. And it's better to just do as everyone told you. Your brain isn't wired to be incredibly expressive. Your brain is wired for survival, especially in a social setting. Your brain will do whatever keeps you in that comfortable in the social hierarchy, in amongst your friends, amongst your family, whatever keeps you as part of that tribe for as long as possible. Your brain would want to, your brain would lean towards. That's the word. So when you want to create something, when you have an idea that is against the norm, you might be a finance student, but you have an idea to make a massive mural in the city. When you have something that's so different from what everyone around you thinks you are, you have this immediate urge not to make it. And I think that's what's most destructive. And the people that do go on to make great things have to fight this urge. It's not that they don't have that urge in them. Of course they do. Kanye was told 1,000 times that he was just a producer and he wasn't going to be a rapper. But he still went on to be one of the greatest rappers of all time, right? Of course they have that urge to just give in and do as they're told, to fit into the boxes that society gave them. But they choose to fight against it. And the question comes down to this. How long are you willing to be bad at something? How long are you willing to look stupid? How long are you willing to have judgment placed on top of you until you finally get good, until you finally become great? As children, we tend to feel safer in our environments. We feel less pressure from the outside about what we need to do every day. We don't have as many expectations on us to follow a certain path. So we feel free to create. And then we go up to our parents or our family members or our friends and we show, look, I drew this. But as an adult, we have so much pressure that we need to fight against. And I'm telling you, you have to fight against this pressure. Sorry, my SD card ran out of storage. As I was saying, as adults, we have so much pressure and you have to fight against this pressure. It's imperative. You have to go on to still continue. But the key you have to take from that is that you can't expect it all to be perfect. You can't expect the stars to align and the path to magically fall in front of you. You have to take the leap of faith. And that faith is in no one but yourself and God. You trust yourself that you can make this happen and you trust God to guide you along the way. And when you do that, you start making not just more, but you start making better because you feel free. You feel a burden off your shoulders and you feel like suddenly you can get ideas and you can act on those ideas without having to ask those 40 questions first. I remember when I started university 2 or 3 years ago, I felt the same way as I described at the start of the video. I felt like I was somewhere that I didn't belong. The traditional student lifestyle never appealed to me. I didn't want to be partying and drinking. I didn't want to be studying excessively. I wanted to be creative. So I got to the end of my first year again when I finished my exams and I was just like, fuck man, I have to start something. And that's when I started my brand Stella, because I was like, look, I'm already on the path everyone expects me to be on. I'm doing the engineering degree. I'm comfortable there. I can just, I crawl my way through the degree and everything will be safe and cushy. But I knew there was more to me. There was something else I had to build. I felt this calling. So I started my brand Stella because I was tired of feeling that safety. I wanted to feel something more than that. This creative spirit, this calling of my original mind. And once I started that, I've been making videos every day since then. And honestly, I've never felt more creatively attuned in my life. Obviously, there's periods where the stuff I'm making isn't, like I was saying, the stuff I'm making isn't the best it can be. It's not the most creative it can be. But regardless, I still create. And I've no longer feel this pressure of what are people going to think about me? What are my parents going to think about the stuff I make? Partly because I've amassed results, but partly also because I don't give a fuck anymore. I no longer have that pressure. I feel like a kid again, where I just wake up in the morning and try to spend my first couple hours just being as imaginative as possible, trying to make the best videos I can,